Well, g'day everybody, Steve VKTUD. I just wanted to put up this little video about reptile awareness. Allan gratefully, or thankfully, let me video his display at the Maitland show, and I told him I would be putting it up on YouTube. So this is for everybody's awareness. I hope you get a bit of enjoyment out of it. And great thanks again to Allan for allowing me to video this, and we'll get on with it. Got any comments about this or anything else I put up? By all means, put those down the bottom. Feel free to like and subscribe, all the usual stuff. We'll get into it. Cheers.
Thanks for coming along. My name's Allan from Reptile Awareness Displays of Australia. Look, my objective, as always, is to go through some of the characteristics, behaviours of just a few of these guys. I will give you a couple of techniques and tips you can take with you to hopefully avoid being bitten, but most importantly, it is a subject of first aid. Let's face it, we are in the lucky country. We have more venomous snakes than anywhere else on the face of this planet. 40% of the world's population found here. 7 out of the top 10. I happen to have 5 of those top 10 here today. You will see at least 4 of those 5 in the next 15 minutes. But before I do carry on with them, have a look at a python found in the northern and western parts of this country. And he has a very appropriate name. We call him our black-headed python. Now, like all pythons, he is a constrictor. He wraps around his prey very, very tightly. He suffocates his prey. To do this, he needs a very good purchase. So he's got gifted about 100 plus little recurved teeth in 3 rows. So he can give you a nasty bite, the odd python, and sometimes they do lock on and not want to let go. Point of my story, folks, we leave them all alone, they leave us alone. Best way to avoid a bite for sure. Now, in saying all that, I can bring him around quite safely. And you are welcome to have a touch of his tail end if you so desire. You don't have to, of course. Not compulsory or mandatory. There is some hand sanitizer there too for you to wash your hands afterwards. So please make sure you do wash your hands, if not here, at the amenity box with some soapy water. There you go. And look, how does that feel to you?
A little bit slippery.
Slippery?
Yeah.
No, that was me you touched.
Oh, you should be so lucky.
Yeah. No, but certainly it is the exact same substance as our own fingernails, toenails and hair. It is called keratin.
Shiny.
So there you go.
It's
We
like
do have something in
it's
common
shiny.
with our reptilian friends. Okay, now this big boy gets to go back into his little heaty box so we can carry on with the highly venomous guys, the ones you will not be getting a pet of for obvious reasons. Okay, in you go, fella. Pull your head in and tail. Good boy. Alright, now I've been staying on the theme of local snakes, a couple of local snakes to the area. So I'll keep going down that track. The first guy I'd like to introduce you to is my favourite. Out of 160 described species of land snakes, and 100 of which are venomous, this one I do like the most for various reasons, which I will explain. I always have names for all my snakes, and this one is Raymond, because, everybody loves Raymond. Now, because he's a local bloke, I'm going to tip him out gently, and you give me the indication, just yell out, what species of snake you believe this to be. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Just yell it out. What is he?
Red belly black snake.
You're right on the money, sir. It is indeed Raymond the red belly black. I can tell you a couple of quick stories about Raymond and his family, and here comes the first one. There has not been a recorded death in this country from a red belly since 1804. And that was a 6-year-old boy. And you know what killed that child? The medical treatment of the day. That's right. In 1804, you were actually walked all day and all night. They thought by keeping you awake kept you alive. What hope did that poor boy have? Now you'll find red bellies mainly around the well-watered areas. They love frogs. That's 90% of their diet. Where I come from, different country, it's called Queensland. We have cane toads. Yeah, he doesn't know how to differentiate between things that hop. If he eats a cane toad, generally speaking, he goes red belly up. And that's a crying shame. Coming in at number 22 out of the top 100, he also can eat the second most venomous snake on the planet for us, our common or eastern brown. So he's a good player in the environment. I say vote 1 for red belly. In fact, if I ever run for politics, that's the name of my party. I'm going to call it the Red Belly Black Party. The slogan, just another snake in politics. And if you don't vote for me, I'll get very snaky at you. Okay, now let's just say you're walking out the back door to go bush, or even do a spot of gardening or whatever, and next thing you know, a jolly well snake appears in your pathline. You're standing back 2-3 metres before you notice him. Well, let me assure you, at that distance, you're nothing much more than a hazy blur to this guy's eyesight. and the rest of his friends. You see, snakes have a very limited region or space of clear vision. 2 to 3 metres, past that you're a blurry haze. The other good news, no external ears. They don't hear the airborne sounds like we do. So yell and scream to the top of your voice. That's fine. But what he will pick up on, ground vibration through a middle like internal ear. So here's how we play it. You see the snake, you're a few metres away, just simply stand still. Keep your eyes well trained on that subject at all times, as I know you would. Start to slowly move back in the other direction, giving him a wide and clear berth. Couple of more metres back, sure, you turn, you go as fast as you like. Top average land speed, not off the mark, but once they get going, snakes generally pan out to about 10 k's an hour, a brisk walking pace. And yet, the main story I keep hearing in my travels about these creatures, how they love to chase people. And yet, I've never heard of anybody actually being caught. Now, there's probably a good reason for it. You see, what we perceive as a snake chasing us and what actually happens are two very different things. Snakes aren't emotional creatures. They don't wake up in the morning and think to themselves, yeah, I'm having a bit of fun today. I might chase four-wheel drive monthly tough truck people around. Yeah, no, you're not on the menu. That snake you see hurtling towards you, why don't you put that in the video, by the way? Those people you see or hear of being chased, it's our perception. What we actually perceive and what actually happens are two very different things. Snakes do not wake up with the intent of chasing humans. Far, far from it. No, they're actually trying to get back to their hidey hole. You've disturbed them with that ground vibration. You're standing in that path line where they've previously been, and you now feel like you're under attack. That's their exit point. One particular species, and I hear it more often than not, is this guy. Now, he has been found around this area as well. So once again, I'll get you to identify one of the snakes. I'll give you a hint. He comes in at number 4 on the world's top 10. Have a look at him. What do you reckon he is? Tiger? Yes, that's exactly on the money. Put a tiger in your tank, they used to say, the old SO ad. Don't know if you can remember that ad or not.
Yeah, English, tiger in the tank, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so here's the thing. Tigers do not always have to have bands or stripes across their back. Okay, they can be unbanded, jet black, coppery browns, greens, yellows, orange, right through to your albino phase. So what I'm saying here, please do not rely on colour nor pattern alone when it comes to identifying them. If you're walking through the long grass one day, you're stepping over a log, and next thing you know, whoops, you find yourself in this predicament. That is, you've got a snake right at your feet. I'd understand and appreciate your jeans getting slightly damp right about now, okay? But as hard as it may seem, we need to remain completely still. Now, the reason I say it, snakes do not bite things that do not move. Think about it from this guy's point of view. He doesn't go around the bush biting every rock, tree or log he sees. He'd soon wear his mouth out. So staying still, yes, you are actually in the safety zone. And here's the other deal too. We've learnt through research, snakes don't have brilliant memories. In fact, hanging on information for only about 60 seconds or so. So even if you've startled him, he's now up hissing at you and carrying on, providing you stay still. You stay still long enough, give him a minute or two, he'll soon forget what's transpired, goes back down on the ground and will start to slither away. So if you can just remember those couple of important points, you won't go too far wrong at all.
What about if he crawled up you?
If you did decide to, go up under there, and that has happened on one occasion with a red belly, but I just sneakily use my belt or something like that, and I make a roadblock for him. So I pull it tight around there. He goes up and he goes, oh, I can't go any further. And he slithers back down again, yeah. So a bit tricky. Okay, but one snake that is extremely tricky, and I call him my true living landmine. That's because he's an ambush predator. He sits and he waits and he lures the prey over. And this guy certainly is extremely tricky with the way he camouflages himself. Now he can blend into the leaf litter, depending where he's from, into the western parts, into the sand, and you'd hardly see them. But what do you reckon he is? Death Adder, sir. What was your name, please? Chris? Chris, would you like to lock in D for Death Adder, or we go 50-50, phone a friend, ask the audience? Chris? Yeah, final answer, Chris? Yeah, rightio, you've locked it in, you've said the Death Adder. Chris, I'll tell you what we'll do. Look, we'll come back after these commercials. No, you're right on the money. Good job. Number 9 on the world's top 10 most venomous. And as I said, extremely tricky. I'll just bring this little fella out. Yeah, they don't get that big, these guys. They'll certainly get a lot fatter. But this one here, number 9 on the world's top 10. And as I said, nestling in, you'd hardly see him. You could walk along, walk past him, over the top of him. He doesn't really give two hoots, providing you do not stand on him. And I'm not going to demonstrate that part, okay? Because if I did in the time you blink, this little chap would have already nailed my boots a couple of times. You're actually looking at the fastest striking snake on the planet, folks. How fast? Try 430 k's an hour. One's been clocked on film. Faster than a Ferrari, a 6-year-old boy told us last year. I'll take his word for it. Now, if you do see yourself in this predicament, you were this close to the death adder, you recognise him as such, here's the one, the only one really at close quarters. You do some nice, slow, steady steps away from, wins the day. Otherwise, you could be standing there for a week waiting for this guy to do the moving. 8 described species we have now throughout Australia, excepting Tasmania. There are none down there. Not too many in Victoria either for some reason, but the rest of the mainland and coastal islands, Fraser Island, Magnetic Island, a couple of islands there off the Queensland coast, you certainly know you will find them as well. So be prepared in your adventurous trails to maybe perhaps come across one of these guys, and believe me, you do the moving for them. But unlike the next fella, Mr. Attitude I call him. Now I do call him that because we don't often have to go out and find him. He occasionally comes to us. He'll move into our backyards and even come into our houses, give him half the chance. Why he does it, I will explain. And he doesn't have a particularly sinister name like a death adder. We've kept it rather simple indeed. This fella here, very common, living on the eastern half of Australia. So we call him our common or eastern
Brown.
nice harmony there, folks. Well done. I call him Charlie for short. Now just be prepared for a bit of action. Charlie likes to carry on a little bit. Look, if he carries on too much, you will hear me change names. I will call him Leroy. After all, Leroy was the baddest brown in the whole. Never mind. Okay. Childhood jokes don't get any better. So here we go. Get my big stick because I need that as my baton to conduct the orchestra here. All right, now, Charlie here, very common, like I said, living on the eastern half of Australia. And the bit about brown, well, not always the case. I've seen him from the colour of this carpet to almost jet black, banded forms that do look like tiger snake stripes, even in greens and orange tinges, highly variable in colour and pattern formation. Oh yes, he'll move into your yards and houses, all right. What this joker's up to, he's looking for his favourite food source, rats and mice. He will pick up on those scent trails for up to 2 k's away, and in he comes. How do we perhaps keep him at bay? And no, it's not with a shotgun, shovel, or bit of wire. I know what you're thinking, but here's the idea. Ask yourself the question, why is he coming in? You don't happen to own a compost heap, an aviary, a chook pen or a hay shed around the property by any chance? If so, clean up, get rid of the incentive, those rats and mice, and don't give him that encouragement to come in. Folks, it is with regret, every year in Australia, on average, approximately 3,000 to 4,000 snake bites do occur now, and about 60% of those bites are from the brown snake family. Several deaths each year. Unfortunately, 2018, it's broken the records. We were up to 6 people dead in 5 months from browns, unfortunately. How do we perhaps reduce these statistics? Well, first things first. When you step out that back door to go bush, you are well armoured. Good boots, long pants. He only has very short fangs. 2 to 3 millimetres in length, in fact. When he bites, he hardly releases any venom at all. But here comes the tricky part. When he does hit you, there is minimal or no pain at the site. In fact, most people, not even aware they've been bitten. They describe it to me more or less like it's a thistle, or a twig's brushed up against them, and it can look like a scratch mark, not only 1 or 2 puncture marks. So please be aware, he is our silent killer. 75% of all the bites that do occur, right down here on the lower limbs, and the majority of people coming into hospital bitten, shorts, thongs, no shoes at all. This is where things go wrong. That's why I do say, good boots, long pants when in the great outdoors. I know for a fact this short-fanged snake, as deadly as he is, he can't penetrate through my boots. I'm not going to stand here and say he couldn't get through the cloth of your jeans, but I will say this much. Perhaps, just perhaps, a small amount of venom would be caught or absorbed onto the cloth rather than onto you and I. So prevention, better than cure, when you are dealing with the second most venomous snake on the planet, our common or eastern brown. Now jump in the bag. No, you jump in the bag.
They come
there
in
you
a
go.
real light brown colour too, do
Oh
they?
yes, yes, they certainly do. They come in lots of different colours. Absolutely, yes. Now, one more. There's only one more on the face of the planet that outstrips a lot of them. This little lady, twice as venomous as eastern brown, believe it or not. Before I do target her, I generally do like to ask just for a little bit of help and support from you, if I may. You see, I'm not from a government organisation, a reptile park or a zoo. I'm the independent guy that does go out to these areas to try and bring out a little bit more awareness to hopefully reduce those bites we have each year. What I generally do is just ask for the way of help and support, just in the format and fashion of a small donation as I do pass my hat around. If you can get behind us, throw a couple of bob in, any money raised goes back into this display, keeps us on the road, so to speak. Now don't panic, I'm not going to chase you into something serious. Snake bite first aid treatment. 1978, the Commonwealth Serum Laboratory came up with this simple idea: compression and mobilisation. What they discover is this much: snake bites you. Venom doesn't initially and always go straight into your bloodstream as such, but rather travels through our tissue drainage system known as the lymphatic system. That system, guys, works mainly on muscular movement, so the more you move, the faster the venom travels. Once it gets past the lymph nodes, armpits, groin areas and so on, this is when it gets into the bloodstream. That's when the real damage starts to occur. 2 golden rules we play by if you ever do take a bite. 1, stay as still as possible. 2, you make sure you have a big broad bandage handy. Little bandages, well, they simply do not make it all the way up an arm, let alone a leg. That's why we go for the big fella. In the past, they would teach you and tell you to take your bandage over the bite site you go, up or down the limb. Well, you can still do that if you wanted to. These days, a lot of the instructors will ask of you to start at the fingertips, toes of the affected limb, work your way up. Wrapping as firmly as say you've just sprained a wrist or ankle. We're not trying to cut off blood flow, no longer a tourniquet, it is just firm compression. Once you get to the top, sign him off, have yourself a splint handy. It could be a rolled up newspaper, it might be a stick out in the scrub. Anything you could adhere over the top to prevent that muscle movement. Now, if this system in place, you've just bought yourself, on average, about 6 to 8 hours of time frame. Certainly long enough for an ambulance to arrive or medical help to come to you. You don't need to go racing about. The other important issue, please do not wash the bite site area. Good idea to put a mark on the outside if possible, so the medicos know where to peel back to use a venom detection kit once in hospital. It takes about 30 minutes or so to do that simple test, but in that time frame, they will come back to you with the correct antivenin if indeed it is required. Now, most importantly, please do have that bandage on immediately. I am talking no more than 1-2 minutes post-bite for its total effectiveness. In fact, since its conception 40 years ago, there has not been one recorded fatality now when playing by these rules. So, proof in the pudding it does work.
If you're bitten on the arm there, you still go right down and up the whole lot there.
Sure, you sure can, providing you put it on, like I say, immediately, and you're staying still as possible. So guys, in your chemist, that's raw bandage is worth about $20, and as an alternative, I have put together this little kit, because I know they're jolly hard to find. There's that big broad bandage like I just demonstrated, set of instructions, triangular bandage, comes in the weatherproof case, nicely highly fluoro orange, snake symbol on the front, you know what you're putting your hands on in time of need, belt lug on the reverse side, have something like that on your hip pocket going bush, handlebars of your bike, saddlebags, tractor ute, maybe just in the glove box of your car or camper. Peace of mind, $10, I do have them there for you. If you need something like that for your own personal safety, give us a boy after this display, gladly help you out. They are a proven lifesaver. Righto, here we go. Check this little lady out. Now, a species of snake, like I say, was thought to be extinct. And when we caught up with them, they went from being the least known to one of the most researched. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I give to you our inland taipan. Western taipan, small-scale snake, commonly known as the fierce snake. Now, the name does change from time to time over the years, but one thing remains the same. You are looking at the world's most venomous. #1 on the face of the planet. This little lady has the potential to take out 100 adults' lives, which is 1 drop of her venom. That's right, you did hear me right. 1 small snake, 1 bite, 100 people gone. Now, why on earth would we have a creature like that? I'm sorry, I just do not know. An old guy, I must admit, he did try to tell me just recently. He said, son, with such venom capabilities, that snake could drop 2 elephants, or even a mother-in-law, you reckon? They're not for hire, don't get any ideas now. But seriously, these guys were first described way back in 1879. Now, the policy back then was pretty darn simple. Catch it, kill it, pop it into a jar, send it off to the museum. The information trail stops right there and then. 1972, the Queensland Museum, they received a very interesting and unusual parcel in the mail. What they got was a preserved skull and tail of a snake they couldn't identify. Came into them by a farmer in the Western Channel Country of Queensland. They went out and paid him a visit. September 72, they bring back 13 live specimens off his property. Upon research, they find out these guys are 50 times more potent than a cobra. And in 1981, they are finally classified as a taipan. To this point in time, 23 people recorded bitten by the world's most venomous. I'm glad to say 23 people survived. Why? Primarily by initiating a simple bit of first aid in place immediately and correctly. Even with a snake of this caliber, being your world's most venomous, having the potential to take out 100 adults' lives with one drop of venom, 50 times more potent than a cobra, those people are living proof that simple technique, when applied immediately and correctly, does afford you the time to get to hospital for the anti-venin treatment required.
It could easily be mistaken for a brown, couldn't it?
Ah, yes, and actually the western brown snake, there's 3 sort of subspecies of those. Look, you can't really tell them apart. Only, look, if by putting one on the ground next to this one, I'd go, I don't know. I could quickly tell if I picked up the tail and had a look at the anal plate, because his is single and browns are divided. That'd be a quick way of doing it, but I'm not going to do it. But yeah, so thanks so much guys for your time, your attention, and of course your donations. If indeed you need a kit, sing out. If you've missed a part of the show, look at that, only 5-6 minutes away, we'll have another one running. So if you missed a bit, please come back. If I don't see you, stay safe, enjoy the rest of your